we've heard quite a bit on the CEO being shot. You know, as I posted earlier, I'm no armchair detective. Whatever information that I repeat on here, you guys have probably already heard it. So there's that. It's interesting to me though is, well, I mean, obviously you can tell it's not a professional doing it. Um, that gun would have been ditched. Any clothing or anything regarding that, you would think they would ditch. And you know, manifestos and lists of insurance company people or whatnot, probably not a good idea to keep around either if there's a nationwide manhunt on somebody, you know, for a possible premeditated homicide. Anyways, but you know, we'll see what other crazy shit pops up from there. Of course, you've got allegations against Jay-Z. We all saw that coming. Nothing really fun to report there. But the title of this one, HK. Man, I've been trying to do some deep digging on HK. Heck, for the SS and, you know, part of the Nazi party. Now, I know a lot of people back then at that time in Germany didn't have, you know, a lot of them didn't have a choice, or, you know, they're concerned about their own well-being and families and played ball and went along with it. The hard part is, how do you weed out who's telling the truth about that, and how do you weed out who are the real bad guys that were doing all the nasty shit because of their fundamental belief in hybrid theory and, you know, people that were administering the Holocaust and all that shit. So, you know, it's something to think about. Now, we can't, if we were to judge the current people based off the sins of their fathers, well, we'd all be guilty of shit. So, you know, years away, whatnot. Holocaust is a terrible thing, should never be forgotten. People that say it doesn't exist are fucking crazy. And, you know, it's, you know, I've been there, I've seen it, I've seen some of them, you know, it's eerie, sad, negative place, but it's a good remembrance of some terrible atrocities. But, you know, with that, finding out now these firearm manufacturers, you know, used to be engineers from Mauser, and Mauser, you know, provided a lot of firearms, you know, for Germans, Hitler's Nazi Germany at the time, military, I mean, World War II. You know, it's dark, but it's also looking at how it was. Now, doesn't excuse any behaviors, no, definitely not. However, HK going forward has, you know, with the whole Nazi Germany thing, we look how many companies, you know, came from the aftermath of that. Almost every firearm manufacturer that was German, Austrian, and around that area before the borders and boundaries got changed up all throughout Europe after World War I and World War II. Most of them had people manufacturing things for the Nazi Party, unfortunately. That's something to look at. Now, you know, if the United States government went up to Colt and was like, hey, you're gonna start manufacturing these for us while they're committing atrocities, more than likely, you know, Colt is going to comply, or they're gonna remove people from the company and install people that will. And that's just a given. That's also, though, why we have the Second Amendment here in the United States. And it's to protect us from tyranny and not having to do what these countries are doing. Look at North Korea, they're sending all those troops over to Ukraine. And it would be fantastic if there was a PSYOP ran and they were allowed to, you know, they were able to defect and get out of there and, you know, whatever. However, the problem is, I guarantee it, there is the fear of they're going to wipe out my entire bloodline if I don't fight for these guys in this war, because that's what North Korea, you know, is tyranny, and that douchebag with the ugly haircut have been doing for decades now. But, you know, that's, like I said, great thing about the Second Amendment, we're armed to protect us from tyranny. Now, a lot of people say, well, the government, they're going to have the military. You'd be very surprised about how people in the military think. Yes, you take an oath, but you're also taking an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States and the people in it. And so if you look at it in that way, if you are part of a tyrannical government, military group or whatnot, you're violating the rights of the American people, and those rights are the ones you swore to protect. So that, you know, just a quick thing for you guys to think about. And that I mean, Heckler and Koch, this is a prime example of why the Second Amendment's important. These guys, regardless if they agreed with the Nazi Party or not, they say they didn't, even though they were members, whatever. If they were forced into doing it, I mean, that's tyranny right there, and you know, infringement and all sorts of things, which is why the United States, it's freaking awesome living here. And that's why I wish more people would kind of look at these cases, you know, in history and realize, well, this type of gun control, for instance, was one of the first things that in Hitler's Reich, you know, when he took over, that he did. Then force people into enlistment and then force them to go fight a war that they might not agree with or whatnot, and have a lot of immoral things take place, if you will. So, I mean, that's my thoughts on it. Now, Heckler and Koch, I love their guns. They have some of the coolest guns of all time. The MP5, who doesn't love an MP5? One of the coolest machine guns ever made, machine pistols, correction. You've got the G33, you've got the VP9, you've got the HK7, which is badass too. So, and like Heckler and Koch have done a fantastic job with their company, the direction they've gone, providing military forces and law enforcement agencies with reliable firearms that are freaking amazing. I wish they weren't as expensive, and I wish some of them weren't as hard to come by, because I mean, who doesn't want an MP, like an actual MP3? Granted, it's a fully auto machine pistol. But anyways, guys, like I said, avoid being like Nazi Germany. Exercise your Second Amendment rights. That's why we have it. It's important for these very reasons. You guys all have a great evening. And I'll have some more of those funny douche awards come up. I got one of Johnny Q, Double O Sean, and Ballistic Nations, that dude should be sterilized. The dumb shit he does on his channel and whatnot. I mean, how he's not dead and how he still has a channel, it just blows my mind. But you know, I'll have some more douchebag awards coming up for you guys. Get a few laughs in for the holidays. I'll be dropping a few youth firearm safety things, because this time of year, you know, I like to get firearms for my kids, you know, 22s, 410s, all that type of stuff. It's fun to have, you know, and they're at the age where that type of shit's fun. It's fun to go hunting. It's fun to go shoot sporting clays. It's fun to go hit targets, whatever. But anyways, that'll be some of the content you guys will see dropping. Thanks so much. Enjoy your Monday.